Welcome to Book Summary Podcast, your gateway to personal transformation. Each episode delivers big ideas from the world's most impactful books on mindset, productivity, and success, all in just a few minutes. Ready to turn knowledge into action? Let's get started.
Have you ever felt like external forces are just dictating your joy? Or maybe that you just can't seem to shake those repetitive, frustrating patterns in your life?
Yeah, that feeling of being stuck.
Exactly. That familiar struggle with self-doubt, maybe anger, feeling trapped. Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dig into the really thought-provoking world of Alfred Adler.
Adler, yeah. He's often called the forgotten giant of psychology.
Right. Sometimes overshadowed by, Freud or Jung. But his ideas offer some surprisingly direct, even radical answers to life's big questions. Happiness, change, all of it.
And our guide for this deep dive is a pretty unique book, The Courage to be Disliked. It basically distills Adler's philosophy through this captivating dialogue. It's between a wise philosopher and this skeptical young man. It's really a masterclass in challenging conventional wisdom.
Totally. So our mission today is to unpack some of Adler's most, radical assertions, like the idea that people can change.
A big one.
And that the world is astonishingly simple. And that happiness, it's genuinely accessible to everyone. We'll explore how these ideas really challenge our deeply ingrained beliefs about things like trauma, emotion, our relationships.
With ourselves and with others, yeah.
And the philosopher in the book, he starts right off the bat, just throws this statement out there that sounds almost, idealistic, maybe even unbelievable.
What's that?
He says, "This world is astonishingly simple and life itself is too."
Wow, okay.
So how does that statement even resonate with your experience listening right now?
It's a bold claim. A really bold claim, the world's simplicity. I mean, especially when so many of us experience life as, anything but simple.
Right. But the philosopher argues it's not that the world is complicated objectively, it's that you are making it complicated.
Okay, unpack that a bit. How?
Well, a core tenet of Adler's thinking, really foundational, is that none of us live in an objective world. We live in a subjective one.
Subjective meaning a world that we ourselves have given meaning to. The world you perceive is just inherently different from the one I see. Think about the well water example from the book. Objectively, right? The water is 18 degrees Celsius all year round. Consistent,
Okay.
but subjectively. You drink it on a hot summer day, it feels refreshingly cool.
Yeah.
Drink it in the winter, it feels surprisingly warm. Same water, different feeling.
Because the context, my perception changes.
Exactly, and this brings up a critical point. If your perception fundamentally shapes your reality, what does that actually mean for how you experience daily life?
It means my experience isn't just happening to me.
Kind of. It's like you're seeing the world through dark glasses. Maybe everything seems dim, dark.
Okay.
But if that's the case, instead of just complaining about how dark the world is, the philosopher suggests, well, you can just take the glasses off.
Let's take them off.
Yeah. Now, maybe the world would suddenly seem so bright you'd instinctively shut your eyes. Maybe even wish for the glasses back for a second.
Right. The comfort of the familiar darkness.
But the real question is, can you even take them off in the first place? Do you have the courage, really, to look directly at the world without those glasses?
That idea about perception shaping reality is, it's profound. And it leads us straight into another concept that really turns traditional thinking on its head.
Which is?
Adler's radical rejection of trauma as, the definitive cause for things, and really his rejection of many cause and effect explanations for how we are now.
Ah, yes. Etiology versus teleology.
Exactly. Explain that differently.
Okay, so most of us, and a lot of traditional psychology, operate under what Adler calls etiology. Basically, the idea that our present is determined by past causes.
Like A caused B, simple cause and effect.
Right, so the common view might be past trauma, like childhood abuse, causes someone to become a shut-in later in life. Cause effect.
Seems logical on the surface.
But Adler introduces teleology. That shifts the focus completely. It's not about past causes, it's about present goals.
Present goals. How does that work with the shut-in example?
So Adler would look at the shut-in and say, it's not that the past abuse caused this. Instead, this person has the goal right now of not going out.
The goal is to stay inside.
Yes. And the anxiety, the fear they feel. Adler argues they create those feelings as a means to achieve that goal.
Whoa. Creates them. But the feelings are real. They're not faking it.
Absolutely real. He's not saying it's fake at all. The feelings are genuinely experienced, often painfully so. But their existence serves a purpose, a goal.
So the anxiety is like a tool to justify staying home.
In a way, yes. It makes you stop and wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can our deepest anxieties, our fears, actually be purposeful, even when they feel completely overwhelming and involuntary?
That is a powerful and, frankly, kind of unsettling idea. Purposeful anxiety. Because for someone deep in it, it feels anything but purposeful. It feels like being hijacked.
It absolutely does. And Adler acknowledges the reality of the suffering.
So how does he suggest we even begin to see that purpose, let alone do something about it? Let's maybe use an example many of us can relate to. Anger.
Okay, anger. Good one.
Right. So picture this. Someone spills coffee all over your brand new jacket. The common reaction, the feeling, is that anger just boils up, explodes out of you. It feels instinctive, uncontrollable.
The seeing red moment.
Exactly. How does Adler challenge that view?
Well, he argues that anger, far from being this uncontrollable explosion, is actually a tool.
Another tool, like the anxiety.
Just like the anxiety, yes. He sees it as a calculated means to achieve a specific goal. Often that goal is making someone submit, or controlling a situation, or asserting dominance.
So I don't just get angry because of the coffee spill.
He'd suggest you became angry so that you could shout, so that you could make the other person feel small or take you seriously or back down. The anger serves the shouting.
Okay, I need an example here.
There's a really powerful anecdote in the book. A mother is furiously yelling at her daughter, just letting loose.
Okay.
Then the phone rings. She answers it instantly, perfectly polite. Well, hello, Mrs. Davis,
Yeah.
It's the child's teacher. She has a perfectly normal, calm conversation.
Right. Switches it on and off.
Exactly. The second she hangs up, boom, back to yelling at the daughter.
Wow. Okay, that really illustrates it.
It instantly shows that the anger wasn't an uncontrollable force. It was a tool she picked up, used, put down when needed, and then picked right back up again. It was a choice, serving a purpose in that interaction with her daughter.
So the anger isn't the cause of the shouting, but the means to the end goal of shouting or controlling or whatever. And that's a radical reframing.
It really is.
Because if we're not controlled by our past in the way Freud suggested, and we're not even controlled by our emotions in the heat of the moment, well, that suggests a profound level of free will, doesn't it?
It points directly towards it, yes. It's a direct challenge to Freudian etiology, that deterministic view.
But okay, here's the big question then. If we have this much freedom, this much choice, why do we struggle so much to change? Why do we stay stuck in patterns that make us unhappy?
Ah, yes. That's precisely the next question Adler tackles. And his answer is, let's just say, provocative.
Lay it on me.
He suggests you are unhappy because you yourself chose being unhappy.
Hold on. I chose my unhappiness. That sounds incredibly harsh. It sounds like blaming the victim.
I know. It sounds harsh on the surface, but let's unpack it. It connects to that Socratic idea. No one desires evil.
Meaning
all our actions, even the ones that look negative or self-destructive from the outside, are done because at some level in that moment, we perceive them as good or beneficial to oneself.
Yeah.
There's some perceived advantage, even if it's just familiarity or avoiding something scarier.
So even choosing unhappiness serves some perceived good.
In Adler's view, yes. Maybe it gets you attention. Maybe it absolves you of responsibility. Maybe it's just known. And he uses the term lifestyle here.
Lifestyle. Like my hobbies and where I live?
Not quite like that. It's Adler's term for what we might generally call personality or disposition.
Yeah.
It's your fundamental orientation towards life, yourself, others. It's the lens through which you view everything.
Okay, like a worldview.
Kind of, yeah. It dictates the way one's life should be, according to your own internal, often unconscious map. And here's the kicker. Adler emphasizes that this lifestyle, this fundamental way of being, is something you choose for yourself.
Even if I don't remember choosing it, or it feels totally ingrained.
Even then, the choice might have been made very early, maybe around age 10, he suggests, but it was still a choice based on your interpretation of your experiences back then.
Okay, that's a fascinating redefinition of personality as a lifestyle choice. So the idea then is that people are constantly, maybe unconsciously, selecting or reaffirming their lifestyles.
Exactly.
But why? Why would we keep selecting lifestyles or making choices that, let's be honest, make us unhappy or keep us stuck? What's the payoff?
Well, think of the old familiar car analogy the philosopher uses.
Okay.
Your current lifestyle, your current way of being, it might rattle, it might have problems, maybe big ones, you complain about it, but it's predictable. You know how it handles, you know its quirks.
Right, it's familiar, even if
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable.
Precisely. Now, imagine choosing a new lifestyle, trying to fundamentally change your way of being. That's like getting a brand new car you've never driven. It brings anxiety, doesn't it? Uncertainty. What if I crash? What if I don't know how to use the features? Where am I even going?
Yeah, the unknown is scary.
The philosopher argues it's often just easier, feels more secure to stick with the old car, to be just the way one is, even with all the complaints and limitations, rather than face the uncertainty and the sheer effort of change. So, in Adler's view, people are constantly deciding not to change.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, the comfort of the familiar, even if it's an uncomfortable familiar. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Adler presents another really foundational idea, and again, maybe a bit startling at first.
Let me guess. Interpersonal relationships.
You got it. The assertion that all problems are interpersonal relationship problems. All of them.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's a bold claim.
Yeah.
Adler literally says, if all other people vanished from the universe, all your problems would disappear too.
Even things that feel really internal, like my own self-doubt or anxiety.
He argues even those have an interpersonal root. Loneliness, for instance. You can't feel lonely without the concept, the existence of other people.
You need others to feel isolated from them.
Exactly. It suggests that human existence is just inherently social, our well-being, our sense of self. It's all deeply intertwined with our connections or lack thereof with others. He goes so far as to say purely internal worry doesn't really exist because the shadows of other people are always present.
Wow. Okay, so if relationships are the arena for all problems, what about feelings of inferiority? So many of us grapple with that. How does that fit in?
Right. Inferiority is a key theme for Adler.
Yeah.
But he makes some crucial distinctions. It's not all bad.
Okay.
First, there's a healthy feeling of inferiority. He sees this as normal, even necessary. It's that feeling of, I want to be better, I can improve. It's a stimulant to normal, healthy striving and growth. But the key is, this healthy feeling comes from comparing yourself to your ideal self, not comparing yourself to others.
Okay, so striving to be my best self is good. What's the unhealthy version?
That's the inferiority complex. This is when you take your perceived shortcomings, real or imagined, and use them as an excuse.
An excuse for what?
An excuse to avoid effort, to avoid life's tasks, to avoid responsibility. It's the, oh, I'm not smart enough, so I won't even try, or I'm too awkward, so I can't talk to people. It's using inferiority as a shield.
Or maybe blaming the past, like my parents' divorce is why I can't have a healthy relationship, that a parent cause and effect thing again.
Exactly that. And then there's a third related concept, the superiority complex.
Which sounds like the opposite, but you're saying it's related.
Deeply related. Adler saw the superiority complex as often being a mask, a compensation for strong underlying feelings of inferiority. It's flaunting specialness, boasting, trying to appear better than others. Or sometimes it's even using weakness to control others. Think of the example, the baby rules over adults with his weakness. That's a kind of superiority display too.
So feeling inferior isn't the problem. It's what we do with that feeling. Do we use it as fuel for growth, comparing ourselves to our own potential? Or do we twist it into an excuse, an inferiority complex? Or mask it with a superiority complex?
You've got it. It's about understanding the purpose that feeling is serving in your life.
Okay, so if this pursuit of superiority, this desire to overcome inferiority is universal, how does Adler square that with the idea of not trying to be superior to others? You said healthy striving is about the ideal self.
Excellent question. Because Adler is very clear on this next point.
Which is?
Life is not a competition.
Not a competition. But society constantly tells us it is.
Adler says that view is fundamentally flawed and harmful. He encourages us to see life not as a ladder we're trying to climb over others, but as a flat playing field. The goal isn't to be better than someone else, but to take a single step forward on one's own feet. Just progress from where you are.
Towards your ideal self.
Exactly. The danger of seeing life as a competition is huge. It inevitably breeds feelings of inferiority. Because in a competition, there are always winners and losers.
Someone's always ahead of you.
Right. And worse, it makes you view other people not as comrades, but as rivals, as enemies. It makes the whole world seem like this dangerous, threatening place where you constantly have to watch your back.
That sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
And lonely.
It is. Think about that anecdote in the book, the teenager obsessed with how his hair looks.
Yeah.
His grandmother wisely tells him, "You're the only one who's worried how you look."
Huh. Probably true for most of us.
It often is. Our fear being judged, of losing in the perceived competition is usually far greater than the reality of how much attention others are actually paying. We're mostly comrades walking on the same flat plane.
Okay, so seeing life as cooperation, not competition, that changes the dynamic entirely.
Yeah.
But what about actual conflict when anger flares up, when people are competing maybe for dominance in a relationship or an argument?
Right, Adler digs into this too, particularly around power struggles.
Power struggles.
He argues that when someone displays personal anger towards you, especially if it feels like an attack, it's often a challenge. They're trying to pull you into a power struggle.
Trying to provoke a fight.
Essentially, yes. The underlying goal for them is to win, to prove their power, to make you submit. And this raises that crucial question. When someone challenges you to a fight like that, how do you respond?
Most people fight back, right? Defend themselves.
That's the instinct, often driven by our own desire not to lose. But Adler warns against it. If you get drawn in, you're playing their game. And these things can escalate.
Escalate how?
The philosopher talks about a progression. If the power struggle doesn't work for the person initiating it, they might move to the revenge stage.
Revenge? That sounds serious.
It can be. Think about a child whose attempts to win power struggles with parents fail. They might resort to delinquency, self-harm, things designed not just to win, but to actively hurt or upset the parents. It becomes about causing pain as payback.
So what's the solution? How do you deal with a power struggle without escalating it?
The philosopher's advice is very clear. Don't get taken in. Step down from the conflict. As soon as you recognize it's a power struggle, refuse to play.
Just refuse. Won't that look like losing?
That's the fear, isn't it? But Adler says it's not defeat. Remember, anger is just a tool. Effective communication, resolving issues, that's all possible without anger, without the power struggle. Admitting mistakes if you made them, offering a genuine apology, calmly stating your view, and refusing to engage in the fight. None of that is defeat.
It's about choosing a different path.
Exactly. It's about preserving your clear judgment, staying calm, and choosing the right path forward, rather than getting bogged down in winning or losing that specific battle.
Okay, so stepping out of power struggles. That makes sense. Now, you said earlier that all problems are interpersonal. If that's true, what are the main arenas, the specific challenges we face in these relationships?
Adler identifies what he calls the life tasks. These are the fundamental challenges, the core interpersonal relationships that everyone has to confront simply by virtue of living as a social being.
And what are they?
He usually lists three: work, friendship, and love, sometimes called the three social ties.
Work, friendship, love. Okay.
And he argues that many psychological problems arise from trying to avoid these tasks.
Avoid work or friendship or love. How?
Well, take the example of someone who becomes a shut-in and avoids work. Adler would say the issue isn't usually the labor itself. It's not that they hate the tasks involved in the job.
What is it then?
It's the fear of the interpersonal relationships involved in work. Fear of being criticized by colleagues or bosses, fear of being judged, fear of competition, fear of not measuring up, fear of being disliked, fear of hurting someone's feelings.
So it comes back to the relationships again. The fear of being hurt or judged within the work environment.
Precisely. Being criticized or labeled incompetent at work, that's often the real pain people are trying to avoid, not the actual work itself. The problem lies in the interpersonal dynamics of that life task.
That really clarifies it. It always comes back to the people.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's dive into one of Adler's most, well, famously challenging ideas, the one that maybe takes the most courage.
Let me guess. The desire for recognition.
Bingo! The philosopher in the book just states it flat out. One must not seek recognition. Don't look for praise. Don't crave approval.
Yeah, that one lands hard for a lot of people. It goes against so much of our conditioning.
Right. We're taught from childhood to seek praise, rewards, validation.
Exactly. Adler argues that living to satisfy others' expectations, constantly seeking their approval, means you're not living your life. You're living other people's lives.
You're outsourcing your sense of worth.
Perfectly put.
Yeah.
And he traces this back often to reward and punishment education systems. They train us to act based on external validation, not internal principles. True freedom, Adler suggests, comes from freeing yourself from that concern about how others judge you.
Okay, but how? How do you actually do that? It sounds good, but it feels impossible.
This is where the core concept of separation of tasks comes in. It's maybe the central practical technique in Adlerian psychology for improving relationships.
Separation of tasks. Okay, what does that mean?
It means getting crystal clear about whose task is this. You need to clearly delineate your responsibilities, your choices, your feelings from other people's responsibilities, choices, and feelings.
Can you give an example?
Sure. The book uses the example of a child studying, whose task is studying.
Ah, the child's.
The child's.
Right.
Now, what happens when parents constantly order the child, study, you have to study?
The parents are getting involved in the child's task.
Exactly. They're intruding on the child's task. Even if they say it's for your own good, Adler suggests that's often a way for the parents to satisfy their needs, their desire for control, their reputation, their anxiety about the future.
Wow. Okay, that's a perspective shift. What's another example?
How about dealing with an unreasonable boss? Let's say your boss flies off the handle about something minor. Whose task is that anger? Whose problem is that lack of emotional control?
The bosses. It's their anger, their issue.
Right. It's the boss's task to manage their own emotions and behavior. Now, how you respond, whether you do your work well, whether you decide to stay in that job, those are your tasks. But using the bad boss as an excuse for your work problems, or letting their anger dictate your entire sense of well-being, that, Adler says, is a life lie. You're confusing tasks.
You're taking responsibility for their task, their anger.
Or letting their task unduly interfere with yours. This practice of separating tasks, the philosopher calls it a specific and revolutionary viewpoint that can just utterly change one's interpersonal relationship problems.
Separate tasks.
Yeah.
Yours and theirs. Okay, I can see how that could be powerful. But it leads directly to that really challenging consequence, doesn't it?
The cost of freedom.
Yeah, the courage to be disliked. Because if you stop living to meet others' expectations, if you focus only on your tasks, some people aren't going to like it.
That's the unavoidable truth, according to Adler. The philosopher states it bluntly. Freedom is being disliked by other people.
Wow, freedom is being disliked.
In this context, yes. Being disliked by someone who perhaps wanted you to live according to their expectations or fulfill their needs, is actually proof that you are exercising your freedom. It's proof you're living in accordance with your own principles, managing your own tasks.
So there's a cost to freedom in our relationships. We might lose approval.
There absolutely is. And the question becomes, can you endure the weight of that freedom? Can you handle the possibility of not being liked, maybe even by people close to you, like your parents or friends, if you choose to live authentically according to your tasks?
That's heavy.
It is. And it's crucial to understand this isn't about being obnoxious or deliberately trying to provoke people. It's not about becoming a self-righteous jerk.
Right. It's not weaponizing authenticity.
No. It's simply about having the courage to live your life based on your own principles, manage your own tasks, and accept that you cannot control how others feel about that, nor should you try to. Their feelings are their task.
Okay, that's a truly liberating idea, the courage to be disliked, but also, yeah, deeply challenging. So if vertical relationships where someone's perceived as above or below another are the root of these power struggles and the need for recognition, how do we build healthier connections?
Adler proposes moving towards horizontal relationships.
Horizontal relationships.
Yeah, where people interact as equals. You are equal, but not the same. Everyone has different strengths, different roles, but fundamentally you are on the same plane. This structure, this mindset, fundamentally eliminates the space for inferiority or superiority complexes to really take root.
Equal but not the same. I like that. But how does this play out in practice, like with feedback? Our conventional wisdom says praise is good, right? It motivates people.
Praise. Another convention Adler turns on its head. He argues against praising people.
Against praise. Why on earth would he do that? Isn't positive reinforcement good?
From an Adlerian perspective, praise is problematic because it's inherently a vertical interaction. It's the passing of judgment by a person of ability on a person of no ability.
Ouch. That sounds harsh.
It does, but think about it. When you praise someone, you're implicitly positioning yourself as the judge, the one qualified to evaluate them. It can subtly reinforce a feeling in the other person that they need your approval, that they aren't capable on their own. He likens it to training an animal with treats a form of manipulation, however well-intentioned.
So praise keeps the relationship vertical and potentially dependent?
That's the argument. So instead of praise, and also instead of rebuke or criticism, which are also vertical, Adler advocates for encouragement.
Encouragement. How is that different?
Encouragement is based on horizontal relationships. It's not about judging the outcome, good job, or the person, you're so smart. It's about helping someone feel capable, helping them gain the confidence to face tasks on their own. It focuses on effort, progress, and their inherent ability to handle things.
Can you give an example of encouragement versus praise?
Sure. Instead of praising a child for cleaning their room, good boy, you might offer encouragement. Thank you, that was a big help, or I see you worked really hard on that, or simply, you figured out how to do it. See the difference?
Yeah, the encouragement focuses on their contribution or their effort or acknowledges their capability without placing a judgment on them.
Exactly. A simple thank you is a clear expression of gratitude from one equal to another. It conveys contribution without judgment. Praise, on the other hand, the philosopher argues, can actually reinforce a belief in the recipient's own lack of ability, making them reliant on that external judgment.
That's fascinating. So the more you are praised, the more you might unconsciously start to believe you have no inherent ability, always waiting for that external validation.
That's the potential downside Adler highlights.
Okay, so if praise isn't the way and encouragement is better, how does a person truly build that internal sense of worth? How do they genuinely feel they have value and thus possess courage to face life's tasks?
All right, that's the core question. And Adler's answer is, well, profound in its simplicity. He says, it is only when a person is able to feel that he has worth that he can possess courage.
Makes sense. You need to feel worthy to be brave. So where does that feeling of worth come from?
It comes from contribution to others.
Contribution, like helping people, doing good deeds.
It can be that, but it's broader. And crucially, Adler distinguishes between the level of acts and the level of being.
Acts versus being. Explain that.
Feeling valuable isn't just about what you do, your specific accomplishments, your tangible contributions, that's the level of acts. It's also about recognizing the value of your very existence. That's the level of being.
My existence itself has value. How?
Think about the examples used in the book. A grandparent who is bedridden, unable to do much in a practical sense, or a mother who is critically ill. Are they worthless because they can't perform certain acts?
Of course not. Their presence matters immensely to the family.
Exactly. Their very being alive is a contribution. It supports those around them, provides connection, love, meaning. Just by existing, they contribute. Adler suggests we can and should be grateful for someone's mere existence and recognize the value in our own.
So we can feel worth just by being here, not solely based on what we achieve or produce. That sounds incredibly liberating.
It is. And this feeling of contribution, whether through acts or simply through being, is the third key concept Adler links to achieving what he calls community feeling. The other two are self-acceptance and confidence in others.
Community feeling, like belonging.
Yes, a sense of belonging, of being part of the human community, of seeing others as comrades. And contribution is vital for this. It's not about self-sacrifice, losing yourself for others. It's something one does or recognizes in oneself to become truly aware of one's own worth. That feeling of, I am of use to someone, or my existence matters to others.
Then the feeling of contribution.
That feeling, Adler says, is happiness.
Happiness is the feeling of contribution.
That's his definition. It's a subjective feeling, internal. And if you have that, you don't need external recognition or praise from others.
Right.
Because you already feel your worth through your connection and contribution to the community.
So someone's still obsessed with needing recognition, needing praise.
Adler would say they haven't yet achieved that true community feeling. They haven't fully grasped self-acceptance, confidence in others, or this deeper sense of contribution.
That's a radically different definition of happiness than just, pleasure or success. It's contribution. Okay, tying into this, so many people have the strong desire to be special, to stand out. But Adler talks about something quite different, the courage to be normal.
Yeah, that's another one that rubs against the grain of modern culture, doesn't it?
Totally. Why normal? Why is that courageous?
Well, Adler suggests that rejecting normality, striving desperately to be special, often comes from mistakenly equating normal with incapable or mediocre.
Like, if I'm just normal, I'm boring, I'm nothing.
Exactly. But Adler's point is that in a fundamental way, everyone is normal. We're all human, navigating the same basic life tasks. And accepting this normality, finding value in just being you without needing to be especially good or even especially bad as another way to grab attention that takes real courage. It means letting go of the need for special status.
Accepting ordinary takes courage.
Yeah.
Okay. This connects to another mind-bending idea. How Adler views life itself, not as a line, but as dots.
Yes. Life as a series of moments. He challenges the idea that life is like a long line stretching from birth to death with some grand destination at the end, and most of our lives are just spent en route or in a preparatory period.
Like high school's preparing for college, college is preparing for a career, the career's preparing for retirement. Always preparing, never arriving.
Precisely. Adler says that's not how life actually works or how it should be lived. Think of life as a series of moments, like individual dots plotted on a page. We only ever live in this dot, the here and now. He contrasts two ways of living. One is kinetic life. That's the destination-focused life, like planning a trip where all that matters is getting to the mountaintop as efficiently as possible. The journey is just a means to an end.
Get there, check the box.
Right. The other is energial life. This is where the process itself is the fulfillment, the outcome. Think about dancing.
Dancing.
Yeah. When you're dancing, you're not trying to reach a specific destination across the room. The goal is the dancing itself. Every step, every movement is the point. It's complete in that moment. Or think of a journey, not a commute, but a real journey. Every step is the journey.
So life should be lived more like a dance, complete in each moment.
That's the idea. We should shine a bright spotlight on here and now, fully inhabiting this present moment, rather than constantly dwelling on the past or projecting anxieties onto a rigidly planned future.
Shine a spotlight on the here and now. That's powerful. And it leads to what the philosopher calls the greatest life lie.
Yes. The greatest life lie of all, he says, is to not live here and now. It's when you're constantly looking at the past, lamenting or glorifying it, or obsessing about the future, planning every detail, worrying. By doing that, you cast this dim, indistinct light over your entire life, and you fool yourself into thinking you've actually seen something, understood something.
You've missed the only thing that's real.
Exactly. You've missed the actual living, the irreplaceable moments happening right now. You're telling a great lie to your life, to the here and now.
Okay, so live like a dance, focus on the here and now, don't fall for the life lie of ignoring the present. But if life is just a series of moments, if we shouldn't plan everything out obsessively, what's its purpose? What's the meaning of it all then?
Ah, the ultimate question. And Adler's answer is, again, initially startling. He answers the question, what is the meaning of life? By saying,
What?
Life in general has no meaning.
No meaning. That sounds bleak, nihilistic almost.
It sounds that way at first, but it's not nihilism. Because there's a crucial follow-up. He says life in general has no meaning, but whatever meaning life has must be assigned to it by the individual.
So there's no preordained meaning handed down from somewhere else?
Yep, it's up to you. You are the one who gives meaning to your life through the choices you make, the way you live, the contributions you feel.
You assign the meaning.
Yes. Think of the philosopher's grandfather in the book, severely burned during the war, immense hardship. Yet he chose to see the world as wonderful, people as comrades. He assigned a positive meaning to his life despite his circumstances.
He chose his meaning.
He did. And so the question Adler leaves us with isn't what is the meaning of life, it's what meaning will you assign to your life? And that meaning, Adler suggests, won't be found in abstract contemplation. It will become clear when you have danced here and now in earnest and to the full.
Wow. Okay, so let's try to recap this incredible journey through Adlerian psychology. We've taken a pretty deep dive.
We certainly have.
We explored the idea that our perception shapes our reality, that subjective world. We talked about teleology, how our present goals, not past causes, often drive our actions and even our feelings, like anxiety or anger.
And that really challenging idea that we might actually choose our own unhappiness, or rather our lifestyle, because it serves some perceived purpose, even if it's just familiarity.
Right, and the assertion that all problems are interpersonal relationship problems, leading us to the life tasks of work, friendship, and love.
Then we hit the really practical, liberating stuff. Separating tasks, figuring out what's yours and what's theirs.
Which requires the courage to be disliked, because freedom means not living for others' approval.
Building horizontal relationships instead of vertical ones. Using encouragement, not praise.
And finding that true sense of worth, that feeling of happiness through contribution to others on the level of being, not just doing.
And finally, living life as a series of moments, like a dance, in the here and now. Having the courage to be normal and assigning your own meaning to your life.
It's a lot, but the underlying message seems incredibly empowering.
It really is. Adler tells us, no matter what has occurred in your life up to this point, it should have no bearing at all on how you live from now on. The past doesn't have to define you.
It's you, living right here, right now, who determines your life going forward.
That's the core message. You hold the power.
So, as the philosopher asks at the end of his dialogue with the youth, does one entrust the cards of life to another person or hold on to them oneself? What step will you, listening now, take towards a life of true freedom and happiness based on these ideas?
It's definitely strong medicine, as the philosopher admits. It's not easy. He even suggests it might take half the number of years one has lived to fully grasp and apply these principles.
Yeah, it's a lifelong practice, not a quick fix.
For sure. But it offers a concrete path to profound change, to real freedom. We really hope this deep dive has given you plenty to think about, plenty to reflect on.
And maybe, just maybe, the courage to take one small step forward on your own feet, right here, right now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Book Summary Podcast. If you found value in today's episode, hit that like button, subscribe for more summaries, and share it with someone who's ready to grow. Want deeper insights, exclusive book notes, and reading tips? Join our free newsletter. The link's in the description. And don't forget, if you'd like to read the full book, our affiliate link is right below. It helps support the channel and keeps the summaries coming. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing.